let's do this.
True.
I'm gonna hand it over to Corey,
Okay.
and Corey is gonna talk to us from Spaceflight Now about what NASA is doing with the Orion spacecraft.
Excellent.
It's all to you, brother.
Amazing. Yeah, the next one comes from Spaceflight Now. It's NASA arrives the Orion spacecraft to the VAB, or the Vehicle Assembly Building. So basically, just a recap here. So just earlier this week on Tuesday, the spacecraft, the Orion capsule spacecraft, was moved, and it's over on the Cape. If you're not quite following like Orion, Starliner, all of the capsules that are in development, Orion is the one that is going well enough. It's been in development for quite a long time. It was part of some other programs. Uses some other spare parts we'll talk about, or previously used part, not spare. But nevertheless, it's been it's left the launch abort tower, the launch system tower of a building that was over on the Cape. It's left there, and it's actually on the way to the VAB. It's already there now, actually, and to be stacked onto SLS, the very large. Well, NASA's next was deep space. Now it's the moon SLS system, and so it's been to be stacked on there. It's actually got its launch abort system already on there. There's the ones that have the 4 solid rocket motors on top of the capsule in case they need to get off quickly.
Right.
So basically, what this is all part of Project Artemis, and the first, if you're not following this stuff, Artemis 1's going to be uncrewed. Artemis 2 will be crewed to go around the moon, and then Artemis 3 will be launching to go back to the moon, and then actually the Orion spacecraft on Artemis 3 will rendezvous with the whatever it's going to look like, SpaceX's Starship lander, moon lander, whatever, however we still got to get there with them, sure, of course, but it's set to rendezvous with them, and then that vehicle will take them down to the lunar surface. So that's pretty cool.
There you go.
But anyway, long story short, there you go. So Orion is actually making some good progress there. Set to be going probably in the next few months. And then it looks like they said that the crewed Artemis 2, the crewed one, wouldn't be going until probably late 2023. Set to have 3 NASA astronauts on board with 1 Canadian astronaut. And then
darn those Canadians.
The Artemis 3, but obviously a bit later after that. So
right,
that's pretty good news. Any thoughts on that, Artemis? You can be sure we are blanking out of space in the calendar for whenever SLS is to be launched, because we're going to be over there.
Yep,
going to be something to see either way.
Yeah,
something very cool
so I guess
see. So we're looking at that.
The thing for me is, hurry up and wait, right? I guess it's like,
yeah, I mean,
the engines got there almost 4 months ago, 3 months ago, right? They arrived, or maybe even 5 months ago. I have to go back and look at the date that we talked about them. We followed this from day one with the testing and the conclusion of testing with SLS. We thought that they weren't going to have a customer, but they still have this one system that they're ready to use in order to go do the moon missions.
Yep.
Another article that we could talk about in conjunction with that is that now they're trying to force the selection to the lander portion of that, but that's something else we're going to talk about briefly maybe later on.
Okay.
But hurry up and wait. That just seems to be like a lot of the space programs right now. All of them have experienced some level of delay, with the exception maybe of the Dragon capsules, right? All the rest have pretty much had a little bit of a delay in them. So there's that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the next one?
Yeah. So that was some good news, of course. Orion, we're keeping an eye on that, of course, and excited about that. The other one part down there, that both of the links are down below, but the next one is NASA and Boeing confirm that the Starliner capsule is now set to not fly until at least the first half of 2022. If you guys remember, the Starliner was literally on the pad, hours away from its first test there, and they canceled it, scrubbed it, because some of the valves, and now we know that some of the oxidizer valves were not functioning properly. And actually, this just a few days ago, or I guess it was just now as you're watching this, just Tuesday, Boeing announces that they still actually haven't identified the root cause of 13 of the 24 valves. So they don't even know. They haven't publicly said why at least half of the valves actually were malfunctioning. So nevertheless, they've taken a bunch out. They've sent some of them over to Marshall Space Flight Center to be examined there, try to figure out what's going on. But nevertheless, there you go. More not good news for Boeing, as it would be. But Boeing's had a hard go at it the past few years, and we know that Starliner's had some issues there too, and it really just continues. It was when I saw this first pop up on my feed, I was like, okay, cool, Starliner news. Maybe we know what's going on. No, we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
So And actually, now that this is on my mind, I remember I didn't give you the article, but I think I told you that they also made an announcement. I think it was like a few weeks ago, where they moved some of the astronauts that were set to be Starliner astronauts.
Yeah.
They didn't make a press release, but they just took them off that launch schedule for Starliner and put them into SpaceX's.
Oh, well,
remember I told you about that?
You sent me an article, and then we didn't bring it up on the show. I remember you talking about it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's also going on with Starliner.
I think my comment was, this only means further delays for the Boeing system. And look, the other part of it is that like there's so much that these companies do want to get done in taking part in their part of the contractual obligations of being part of the space program, right? So when Boeing and Dragon were selected, SpaceX were selected, it was exciting because this was going to be their venture into a new capsule design, a whole new philosophy on space flight, which is the ergonomics were improved. The way people were going to make the trip was still the same traditional, rocket up into space, but the entire function and form of the process, which has been more streamlined since first initially achieved so many years ago, it looked like it bode well for Boeing being as successful, if not taking advantage of their previous successes and joining, SpaceX in this endeavor. And Boeing struggled. It is, unfortunate because we know that they're just as capable of doing the mission, and we know that also being a contributor here to the economy in the Space Coast, it's important that they get their feet wet and finally get their missions moving forward. I can only imagine that they get this done, hopefully 2022, that they're back online and everything else is moving forward. That would be the best thing.
Yeah, get some successful launches. I mean, I know that the second attempt they had one that didn't make it up to orbit, so it's been some software as well. So it's looking for some good news for.
Yeah, and let me clarify. A lot of times we're talking about stuff here on the channel that is hype, right? That hasn't flown yet, hasn't been successful, or comes from a company that's trying out, a new place in the market. Whereas this is Boeing, right? We know they can get this done, and we know that they're probably obviously shaking their heads at the fact that they've got this valve oxidation, issue that's going, or the oxidation valves issue.
Right.
So for them, that's why I feel a little bit differently about it, which is, hey man, they got to get the bugs worked out. Maybe it's a bad supplier. Maybe the valves just underperform under certain pressures. Who knows? But it's just unfortunate. So hey, that's my thoughts.
Yep. We'll obviously keep you guys up to date. We also want to see, like we talked, all these competition, all this stuff fly on from the coast where we're at here. So it's all exciting. We just hope that Boeing gets some good news to us soon.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that would be great.
Other than that, so please like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. We'll try to keep you up to date with everything aerospace, aviation, science, and tech as we get to stuff. So thanks so much.
Thank you guys. All right. Awesome.